The sky over Siberia was silent, almost too quiet for a place used to storms and endless wind. Dr. Maya Rane adjusted her coat and stared at the strange object half buried in the snow. At first glance, it looked like a rock, but it pulsed with a soft blue light that seemed to breathe. The research team had been tracking unusual electromagnetic readings for days, but no one expected to find something so alive. Maya's breath fogged in the freezing air as she took a step closer. "It's not from this world," she whispered to herself. She had spent her life decoding languages, ancient scripts and secret codes, but nothing prepared her for this. The probe, or whatever it was, emitted a series of pulses almost like it was trying to communicate. Her assistant, a young engineer named Riku, shivered. "Are we sure it's safe?" he asked, but Maya ignored him. She had learned long ago that fear rarely led to discovery. Kneeling beside the object, she pulled out her tablet and started recording the signals. The pulses were rhythmic, patterned, but far too complex for any human language. Yet something deep inside her mind told her they were meant for humans. Hours passed as she tried to decode the sequence. It was frustrating at first, random numbers, shapes, and light flashes, but slowly patterns began to emerge. Maya's pulse quickened. The signals weren't random. They were instructions. A message written in a language she didn't know but somehow understood. She felt a shiver of anticipation. This wasn't just contact, it was a key. As night fell, the sky erupted in colors. Waves of energy danced across the horizon, green and violet streaks twisting and bending unnaturally. The research station lights flickered. Riku grabbed Maya's arm. "What's happening?" he yelled. Maya didn't answer. She stared as the probe floated slightly above the ground, levitating as if the air itself had turned into liquid. The pulses became stronger, faster. She could feel them in her chest like a heartbeat syncing with her own. "It's activating," she whispered. Suddenly, the device shot a beam of light straight into the sky. The clouds parted, revealing something impossible. A massive structure hovering above the atmosphere, invisible until illuminated by the beam. It was geometric, enormous, and utterly alien. She stumbled backward, mouth dry. They're watching," she breathed. Riku looked up, terrified. Who is watching us?" Maya shook her head. "I don't know. But I think we're about to find out." Inside the probe, tiny lights blinked faster. Then a holographic projection appeared above it, shimmering in the snow. A figure, humanoid in shape but impossibly sleek, with glowing patterns running across its body, stared at her. Its voice echoed in her mind, not in her ears. "You have awakened. We have returned in 7 days." Maya froze. Her hands trembled as she wrote down the words, trying to comprehend. 7 days. That wasn't enough time to prepare. Not for whatever this being meant. And yet, she felt something stir deep inside. A sense of purpose, a memory she didn't consciously have. Over the next few hours, the probe became more active. It projected symbols into the air, patterns that seemed to form a map. Maya traced them on her tablet. Each symbol represented something she recognized from history, from myths long forgotten. Humans had always wondered why stories of strange visitors, gods, and cosmic powers existed. Could it be that the legends were not stories at all? Could it be that humans had forgotten their own history? The research team worked through the night, but Maya couldn't sleep. She kept returning to the symbols, noticing connections no one else could see. Then it hit her. The pulse patterns weren't just communication. They were instructions, a blueprint for something humans had never built before. She felt her heartbeat accelerate. The implications were staggering. Riku, finally giving in to exhaustion, muttered, "We're being tested, aren't we?" Maya nodded slowly. "Yes, and I think the test is only beginning." By dawn, the probe had stopped pulsing. It rested on the snow like an ordinary object, harmless and still. But the message remained. 7 days. That countdown would not stop. Maya knew that in 7 days humanity would face something that could change everything, something that might reveal the truth about what humans really were. And as she stared at the horizon, she felt a strange warmth inside her chest, a quiet certainty that Earth was no longer a child in the galaxy. Something long dormant was awakening, but what exactly would awaken in 7 days? Maya did not know. All she knew was that nothing on Earth or beyond it would ever be the same again. The world had barely started to comprehend what had happened in Siberia. News of the strange object spread like wildfire, but no one outside the research base knew the full truth. Dr. Maya Rani sat in the command center, staring at her screen. The symbols the probe had projected were no longer just a puzzle. They were instructions, a challenge, a call. And humanity had 7 days to answer. Riku entered, coffee in hand, his eyes still wide from the previous night. "Do you really think someone or something is coming?" he asked. Maya didn't answer immediately. She didn't want to frighten him, but the truth was too big to hide. "I don't know exactly who is coming," she said finally. "But I know it's not a visit. It's a test. And Earth isn't ready. Yet, outside, the skies had begun to shimmer with subtle energy patterns almost invisible to the naked eye. Satellites recorded them as anomalies, but Maya saw them for what they were. Signals. The probe had left something behind. A network of invisible threads linking humans to something far beyond the planet. And as she studied the data, she realized that these threads weren't just passive. They reacted to human thoughts, human emotions, human presence. Riku frowned. "You mean, it's like the probe can sense us?" Maya nodded slowly. "Yes, and not just sense. Maybe even guide us." She felt a strange excitement mixed with dread. Humanity had always thought of itself as small, insignificant in the vast galaxy. But now, for the first time, it seemed the galaxy had noticed humans, and humans might not be as small as they believed. In the following days, unusual things began to happen. People near the probe reported strange dreams. Children spoke in languages no one had taught them. Scientists found their minds racing with ideas that seemed impossible, yet somehow practical. Maya noticed it first in herself. As she studied the symbols, she could see connections her mind had never made before. Equations that once seemed unsolvable now appeared clear. Riku discovered he could manipulate small pieces of the probe's technology just by thinking about them. It was as if the device was awakening something long dormant inside humans, a hidden potential that had waited for the right moment to surface. The countdown ticked on. 7 days, 6-5, governments argued over what to do. Militaries prepared, though they had no idea what they would face. And somewhere far beyond Earth, eyes watched silently. Galactic civilizations that had dismissed Earth as insignificant suddenly began to take notice. "A primitive world," they whispered to each other, "but it shows unusual activity." Maya couldn't ignore the feeling that humans were being underestimated. "They think we're children," she said to Riku one evening as they watched the northern lights swirl unnaturally above them. "They don't see what we can become." The 5th day brought the first real proof. The probe activated once more, but this time differently. It emitted a pulse so strong that power grids flickered across Siberia. Then a doorway of light opened above the base, shimmering and unstable. Maya felt herself pulled forward, but Riku held her back. Through the doorway, she saw figures. They were tall, sleek, humanoid, and glowing faintly with energy. Their movements were graceful, almost like they floated. Their eyes, or whatever passed for eyes, glowed with intelligence and curiosity. The beings didn't speak, not in words, but Maya could feel their thoughts. Observe. Learn. Test. Maya's heart raced. "They're not here to negotiate," she whispered. "They're here to see what we can do." Over the next 24 hours, humans interacted with the doorway cautiously. Scientists, soldiers, and civilians all reported strange experiences. Some could hear the aliens' thoughts. Some could manipulate objects near the doorway without touching them. The effect was not universal, but it was enough to show that something fundamental in humans was changing. Something the galaxy had never expected. By the 6th day, the aliens did not enter fully. They observed. Their presence was enough to spark panic in the world's capitals, but also awe. Maya realized that humanity had been underestimated, not because humans were weak, but because no one had remembered what humans were capable of. And then, on the 7th day, the doorway pulsed with blinding light. Maya knew this was the moment. The aliens were about to make their move. She stood in front of the probe, heart pounding as a voice, mental, calm, and clear, echoed in her mind. "Prepare. Show us what you are." Riku grabbed her arm. "What do we do?" Maya didn't answer with words. She closed her eyes and focused. Her mind, and the minds of those around her, reached out to the doorway. Symbols she had only recently understood began to glow in her thoughts. She felt energy building, coursing through the air, through the ground, through her own veins. The doorway shimmered violently, then stabilized, and from it, a projection of the alien fleet appeared, ships and beings that the world had never imagined. They were ready to test, ready to challenge. But for the first time, humans did not feel fear. They felt potential. Maya opened her eyes. "We're ready," she whispered. "Even if they think we're children, we're not." The doorway pulsed again, and then the aliens stepped forward. The alien figures that had appeared above the Siberian research base were unlike anything humans had ever imagined. Tall, graceful, and glowing with energy, they moved as if weightless, their presence filling the icy air with a quiet hum. They had come to observe, but it quickly became clear that observation alone was not enough. The humans were awakening, and the aliens had underestimated what they were about to face. Dr. Maya Rain stood at the forefront, her breath visible in the cold air. Around her, people who had once doubted, who had once feared, now stood with something unspoken in their eyes, a growing awareness of their own hidden potential. It was subtle at first, small sparks of energy, fleeting moments of clarity and control that no one could explain, but the aliens were noticing. One of the alien figures raised its hand and the humans froze. A wave of energy flowed through the air, invisible yet undeniable. Machines shuddered, lights flickered, and the snow swirled unnaturally. The aliens expected fear, expected chaos, but instead, Maya stepped forward. She raised her hands, and without thinking, her mind reached out. The energy that the aliens had sent pulsed back, not violently but in a way that seemed to speak, to test, to measure. Maya's heartbeat synced with the pulsing. Her thoughts became clear. She could feel the connection between the probe, the aliens, and herself. She realized with a jolt of disbelief that humans were not just reacting, they were evolving. Riku, standing beside her, felt it too. Small objects around him began to levitate, hovering in the air as if gravity had forgotten them. Soldiers and scientists nearby looked on in astonishment, their fear slowly replaced by awe. The aliens' calm expressions flickered into surprise. The lead alien, taller and brighter than the rest, projected thoughts into the humans' minds. Primitive species, inadequate, childlike, this should be simple. Maya clenched her fists. "We are not children," she thought back. She didn't know how, but somehow the message reached the alien. Energy surged from her, rippling outward. Snow and ice spun around in small tornadoes, not destructive, but powerful enough to make the aliens pause. A low hum filled the sky. The probe responded to Maya's energy, its surface glowing brighter than ever. Symbols she had barely understood now made sense in a flash. Humans weren't merely observers in this universe, they were descendants of something greater, something ancient. And the aliens had not expected this awakening. The first trial had begun. The aliens sent waves of energy to test humans further. Each wave was met with unexpected resistance. Scientists accidentally created small protective fields. Soldiers instinctively found patterns in the alien attacks, predicting movements and avoiding energy blasts. Children who had been near the probe laughed as small objects danced around them, responding to their thoughts. The aliens stepped back, exchanging silent projections with one another. This was supposed to be easy, but humans were unpredictable. Humans were growing stronger with each passing hour. Maya felt exhaustion creeping in, but she pushed it aside. There was a rhythm to the energy, a pattern in the chaos. She focused, drawing on it, connecting every human nearby into one unified force. The sky above Siberia shimmered with light as humans collectively projected energy in ways they did not fully understand. The aliens' confidence faltered. Then, without warning, the ground beneath the base trembled. The energy from the probe reacted violently, sending a ripple through the earth. Maya stumbled but caught herself, her mind racing. The symbols from the probe were pointing to something deeper, something hidden under the oceans. Riku grabbed her arm. "What is it?" he shouted over the growing hum. "I think it's a power source," Maya said, her voice tight. "Something ancient buried for a reason. If the aliens knew about it, they would have expected it. But they didn't." Her words hung in the air as the tremors grew stronger. The aliens hesitated, sensing the change. This was no longer just a test. Something beneath the planet was stirring, responding to humanity's awakening. Maya realized the implications instantly. If humans could harness this power, no civilization in the galaxy would ever look at Earth the same way again. But the energy was unstable. The probe pulsed wildly, responding to both the humans and the awakening source beneath the oceans. Snow and ice swirled into mini-cyclones. Lights in the research base flickered as alarms screamed. The aliens moved closer, their hands raised, ready to intervene. But they could not stop the phenomenon, they could only watch. Maya's heart pounded as she glanced at Riku. We need to hold it together. Focus. Don't let it overwhelm us. The tremors intensified. A blinding light shot from the probe straight into the sky, illuminating the alien fleet and sending waves of energy outward. Humans instinctively formed a circle around Maya, drawing on whatever latent strength they could find. The air crackled with electricity, energy weaving between the humans and the probe, forming a dazzling web that connected them to the planet itself. Then the light stabilized, and the tremors stopped. Silence fell over the Siberian base, broken only by heavy breaths and the faint hum of residual energy. The aliens stared, visibly shocked. Humans had passed the first trial, not by weapons or technology, but by awakening something inside themselves the galaxy had long forgotten. Maya collapsed to her knees, exhausted but exhilarated. Around her, others breathed heavily, their eyes wide with realization. Humans were not children. Humans were awakening, and somewhere deep beneath the oceans a hidden power stirred, waiting for humans to discover it. The aliens did not leave, and they did not retreat. They lingered, their curiosity replaced with caution. Whatever humans had just done had changed the rules of the game. Maya looked at the horizon, her thoughts racing. This is only the beginning. And then, a low rumble echoed from the depths, louder than the previous tremors, stronger, more deliberate. Something beneath Earth was waking, something the galaxy had never expected. The ocean was restless. From the Arctic to the Pacific, sensors recorded strange energy fluctuations, pulsing in rhythm with the probe's signals. Dr. Maya Rane stood on the deck of a research vessel, wind whipping around her face, eyes fixed on the horizon. Humanity had survived the first trial, but the real challenge was only beginning. The aliens remained in orbit, silent observers. They no longer underestimated humans, but curiosity was a dangerous thing. They wanted to see what humans would do next, and humanity was about to surprise them again. Maya turned to Riku, who was monitoring a set of instruments that now glowed with alien-like energy. The probe's reacting to the ocean, she said. Something is buried down there, something powerful, and it's waiting for us. Riku frowned. Are we ready for this? Maya shook her head slowly, but a spark of determination lit her eyes. We have to be. We've already started waking up. This is what we were meant to do. The research team deployed underwater drones, equipped with sensors designed from a combination of human ingenuity and alien technology they had begun to reverse engineer. The drones descended into the darkness, transmitting images and readings back to the surface, and then as the probe pulsed again, the water itself seemed to shimmer as if responding to some invisible command. Look at this, Riku whispered, pointing at the screen. The ocean floor was alive with glowing structures, geometric shapes too perfect to be natural. They formed a network of energy conduits, stretching for miles beneath the surface. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. These aren't just ruins, she said quietly. They're a system, a machine, something built to harness energy on a scale we can't even imagine. The team watched in awe as the probes interfaced with the structures. Energy flowed from the ocean into the drones, lighting them up like beacons. The aliens above shifted in formation, their glow intensifying. They had never seen a species interact with ancient technology in this way. On the surface, humanity's hidden abilities grew stronger. Soldiers found they could manipulate machinery with thought. Engineers saw solutions to complex problems in moments. Children who had been near the probe laughed as small objects danced in response to their intentions. Earth was changing, and with it, humans were beginning to remember their place in the galaxy. Maya felt a connection to the energy beneath the ocean, almost like it was a living mind reaching out to her. Symbols from the probe flashed in her mind, showing her sequences, patterns, and formulas she had never learned. She realized humans were not just learning, they were evolving. But the awakening did not go unnoticed. Alien civilizations that had once dismissed Earth now watched with growing concern. They are rising too fast, one whispered to another. Primitive, yes, but dangerous. Back on the research vessel, Maya and Riku discovered the core of the energy network, a massive crystalline structure embedded deep in the ocean floor. It pulsed with a rhythm that matched the probe and humanity's collective awakening. It was a power source beyond imagination, capable of altering the very fabric of space and energy. Maya swallowed hard. If we can control this, if we understand it, Earth will no longer be a child. We can defend ourselves even against entire fleets. Riku's eyes widened. Do you think we can do it? Maya smiled faintly, determination in her gaze. We don't have a choice. This is who we are. The team worked tirelessly. As they deciphered the energy network, they realized it was not just a weapon or a machine. It was a tool, a repository of knowledge left by an ancient galactic civilization. The probe had chosen humans because they could unlock it. The awakening wasn't random. It had been waiting for the right species. As humans integrated with the energy network, Earth began to change. Power grids became more efficient, technology advanced overnight, and communication networks linked minds in ways never thought possible. Cities illuminated like beacons visible from space. Humanity had begun to step into its true potential. But even as they celebrated, a shadow loomed. Sensors picked up a massive fleet moving through the outer rim of the solar system, ships far larger and more advanced than anything humans had seen before. The aliens had not come as teachers, they had come as observers. And now something else was approaching. Maya stared at the display. They're coming for us, she said quietly, a chill running down her spine. Not to test us, to destroy us. The ocean pulsed again, responding to both humans and the threat above. Energy spiraled skyward, wrapping the planet in a protective glow. But even as humanity felt the surge of power, the realization struck. The galaxy was not ready to accept humans as equals. Riku clenched his fists. Can we really fight them? Maya looked at him, eyes shining with quiet confidence. We already are, and we're not alone. The aliens above shifted nervously, sensing the change. Humans had awakened something they had not expected. The ocean energy, the probe, and the latent potential within every human formed a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. And deep beneath the waves, the crystalline network pulsed even stronger. As if aware of the approaching threat, something ancient and powerful had awakened with humanity, ready to defend its inheritors. The countdown had ended, but the real challenge was only beginning. The fleet approached, and Earth prepared to rise. The alien fleet loomed above Earth like a dark storm. Ships stretched across the sky, each vessel larger and deadlier than anything humanity had ever built. Their glow reflected off the oceans, highlighting the pulsing energy network beneath the waves. Dr. Maya Rainey stood on the observation deck of the main research station, staring at the massive force ready to strike. Riku stood beside her, tension written on his face. They came faster than we expected, he said, his voice tight. Are we ready? Maya shook her head slowly. No one is ever ready for this. But we have something they don't understand. Ourselves. On the surface, humans moved with purpose. Soldiers and engineers interfaced with the probe and the ocean network. Energy lifted vehicles into the air. Humans directed small forces with thought alone. Children guided drones as if they were extensions of their own bodies. Every human near the probe felt an invisible current linking them together, creating a force greater than the sum of its parts. The fleet began its descent. Alien weapons fired and beams of energy tore across cities, but humans countered with newfound abilities. Energy shields formed spontaneously, protecting entire city blocks. Vehicles twisted mid-air to dodge attacks. Some humans moved faster than the eye could see, instinctively knowing the trajectory of alien fire. Maya activated a control interface linked to the probe. Symbols and patterns danced before her eyes, and she understood them instinctively. She sent a mental pulse through the network, connecting as many humans as possible. The energy beneath the oceans responded, rising like a tide of light, encasing the planet in a protective field. The aliens were stunned. They had expected resistance, but not this. They had assumed humans were primitive, weak, and chaotic. They had underestimated the species that had awakened its true potential. Maya focused her thoughts. This is our world. This is who we are. Energy surged outward, striking alien ships before they could fire again. Beams deflected, hulls trembled, and several vessels were forced to retreat. The humans were not only surviving, they were fighting back. On the ground, Riku watched in amazement as the city around them became alive with energy. Streetlights bent and twisted to form protective barriers. Vehicles lifted and maneuvered like living creatures. Humans worked together instinctively, their collective abilities amplified by the probe and the ocean network. It was as if Earth itself was defending its people, The alien leader, a massive humanoid figure glowing with intense energy, stepped forward. Its thoughts echoed in the minds of the humans. You are not ready. You are primitive. You will be crushed. Maya sent a pulse back without speaking. We are awake. We are ready. We are more than you ever expected. The energy network beneath the oceans pulsed violently, sending waves of light across the globe. Human minds connected with it, focusing on the fleet. Ships were forced into defensive maneuvers, their weapons struggling against shields they could not understand. The aliens tried to communicate, to reason, to dominate, but their assumptions were failing. Riku grinned, feeling a surge of power he had never known. He lifted a massive container of equipment with thought alone, hurling it toward an enemy vessel. It disintegrated on impact, sending a shockwave that disrupted nearby ships. Soldiers cheered, scientists laughed. Children pointed and guided energy streams with astonishing accuracy. Humanity was fighting like a single unified organism. Maya's eyes scanned the fleet. They have underestimated us for the last time, she thought. She tapped into the core of the ocean network, channeling an immense pulse of energy toward the lead ship. The blast was not destructive, it was enlightening, awakening something inside the aliens themselves. The lead ship shuddered, and for the first time the aliens hesitated. From orbit, other galactic observers began to watch. Humanity's rise had not gone unnoticed. Civilizations that had once dismissed Earth now recorded and transmitted data rapidly. The humans, they are more than we imagined, one observer murmured. But victory was not complete. The alien fleet remained large and powerful. Maya realized this was only the first wave. Earth had defended itself, but the galaxy contained forces far stronger than the ones humanity had faced so far. Riku touched her arm. What now? He asked, breathless. Maya looked out at the fleet, her mind racing. Now, we prepare. The galaxy thinks this is the end, but it is only the beginning. Humanity has remembered who we are, and no one will ever underestimate us again. The lead alien projected a final thought, a warning that reverberated in every human mind. This is not over. There are others. Greater threats lie ahead. Be ready, Maya's eyes narrowed. We are ready. The fleet, though shaken, retreated into the darkness of space. Humanity had survived, had fought back, and had demonstrated a potential the galaxy had never imagined. But the warning remained. Beyond the stars, greater dangers awaited, forces that even humans had yet to comprehend. And deep beneath the oceans, the crystalline network pulsed in harmony with human energy, as if acknowledging their courage, their growth, their awakening. Maya turned to Riku and the others. The galaxy will come for us again, she said. But next time, we will be ready next time. We will not just survive. We will define what it means to be human. Above Earth, the sky glowed with the residual energy of the battle. Humanity had risen from children of the galaxy to players of power and intelligence. The probe's final message echoed in their minds. Remember who you are. The first battle was over, but the War of the Stars had only begun. The sky over Earth glowed softly, a quiet reminder of the battles that had passed. Dr. Maya Rane stood on a cliff overlooking the ocean, the waves reflecting the pulse of energy still lingering from the crystalline network beneath. Humanity had survived the alien attack. They had awakened, remembered, and risen. But now came the hardest part, understanding what it truly meant to be human in a galaxy that had long forgotten them. The probe, now inactive, rested on the Siberian tundra. Its purpose was fulfilled, or perhaps it had only begun. The ocean network pulsed faintly as if alive, and Maya could feel it responding to her thoughts. Every human connected to it was awakening together, learning to harness energy, intelligence, and abilities that had once seemed impossible. Riku joined her, his eyes reflecting the soft light. We did it, he said quietly. We fought them. And we survived. Maya shook her head. We did more than survive. We remembered who we are. Her voice was calm, but it carried weight. Humans were never meant to be small, passive, or insignificant. We were meant to grow, to adapt, to shape the universe around us. And now we can. Across the globe, cities had transformed. Skyscrapers glowed with energy. Transportation moved with thought-driven precision. And communication networks connected minds in ways no one had imagined. Humans were no longer confined by the limits of technology. They were the technology, the power, and the wisdom combined. And far beyond Earth, civilizations that had once laughed at humans watched in astonishment. The galactic observers transmitted messages to each other, murmuring in disbelief. They are not children. They are equals. They are awakening. The ocean network pulsed stronger, reacting to humanity's collective understanding. Symbols that had once seemed cryptic now flowed naturally in the minds of those connected. Humans understood that the network was more than a tool. It was a legacy. They were descendants of an ancient galactic civilization, one that had spread knowledge and energy across planets, only to watch their legacy fade. Humanity had been left behind, but never destroyed. Maya closed her eyes, sensing the history, the power, and the responsibility coursing through her mind. We are not alone. We never were. And now we are ready to join the galaxy not as children but as guardians, creators, and explorers. The aliens who had attacked returned briefly, not with weapons, but with observation. They hovered silently, their glowing forms scanning the planet. For the first time there was respect in their thoughts. They remember. They are more than we imagined. They are ready. Maya reached out mentally through the network. Humans across continents felt it, a call, a signal, a greeting. And in response, the universe seemed to reply. Stars twinkled, energy pulsed, and distant civilizations listened. Humanity was speaking, not in words, but in understanding. They were claiming their place among the stars. Riku looked at her, awe in his eyes. Do you think they'll accept us? Maya smiled. They have no choice. We exist, we've awakened, and we will be part of this galaxy, not as children, but as humans who remember who they are. The oceans pulsed one last time, the crystalline network glowing brighter than ever. From it, a wave of energy radiated across the planet, filling the air with warmth, light, and life. Humanity felt it collectively. Strength, clarity, and an understanding of the universe's patterns. The probe had been the key, the ocean network the bridge, and now humans had unlocked the door to their destiny. Cities lit up like constellations mirrored on Earth. Humans soared in the skies, guided by thought and energy. Knowledge spread faster than ever before. Machines, technology, and biology became integrated with human consciousness. Every person felt a deep connection, not just to each other but to the planet and the stars beyond. And then, at last, the sky cleared. The alien fleet was gone, the threats dispersed, but the message remained. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers, and humanity had its place in it. Maya stood on the cliff, the wind tugging at her coat. She looked at the horizon, thinking of the future. We've remembered, she whispered. Earth was once a child, small and underestimated, but we are awake now, and nothing will stop us from becoming what we were always meant to be. The stars shimmered above like a reminder of possibilities. Somewhere out there, other civilizations waited, unaware of the human potential they had overlooked. Humanity had not only survived, they had evolved, and the galaxy would never be the same. And deep beneath the oceans, the crystalline network pulsed in quiet approval, a silent guardian of humanity's legacy. The first humans to step beyond Earth would not step as children. They would step as a species reborn, aware of their strength, knowledge, and destiny. They would step as humans who remembered who they are. And the universe, vast and mysterious, awaited their arrival,